If your husband or wife work in the emergency room overnight, chances of them cheating on you is very high. Let me do a quick story time before I clock in. Most doctors and nurses sleep with each other overnight, and they really love the surgeons too. I never knew they had little one bedroom apartments in hospitals until I started working there. I mean, almost every night there's a nurse being caught sleeping with a doctor, and they don't get in trouble either. And to make matters worse, majority of them is married. And if it's usually the doctors that's married, but the little young nurses that come in with their tight scrubs on,
Right.
they be sleeping with y'all husband.
Okay, so here's the thing. I saw this video and I thought to myself, two things. This could be some type of a satire video, right? Like maybe it's fake. If it's real, I was like, you're about to lose your job. You know, people get online and they'll share stories about their workplace. And then the next video you see them post. And I'm not laughing because I think it's funny that people lose their job. I'm just surprised a lot of people don't understand that a lot of these workplaces do not like you talking about your job while you work. Guys, I did this. I did this exact same thing before I did content full time. I would go into my car and like record videos. You can look back in the past from videos when I first started. I was usually on lunch break. With that being said, she says most doctors and nurses cheat. I don't know about that. We do though, however, know that certain professions have higher chances of infidelity. And that is true based on a video that I covered a while back. Nurses did fall into that category. Now, we're not going to get into that quite yet. Watch this story play out. It's interesting. But guys, keep watching because I think this guy's kind of wild.
The nurses even be sleeping with the housekeepers, but the doctors don't touch the housekeepers because I guess they too good for all that.
Right.
So if your husband or your wife work in the emergency room overnight, y'all might want to check those emails and text messages because they be in there up to no good. And if your wife wear the tightest scrub she can find on the rack every night to work, she's definitely cheating with a doctor.
All right. So what she said there, she said emergency room. That's interesting. Do they have apartments? I mean, that makes sense, right? That you would have some type of like place. Maybe if it's not a full apartment, it's probably like a place where you can rest. Because if you're doing, like I know firefighters do like 24-hour shifts. They have to have something where you can sleep. I don't know. I've never thought of that. Let's talk to our AI assistant, Miss Coffee. Miss Coffee, do emergency room buildings have apartments in them or some type of a room where the staff can sleep?
Emergency room or buildings typically do not have apartments or residential-style accommodations for staff. However, many hospitals, especially larger ones, have on-call rooms or sleep rooms for doctors, nurses, and other medical personnel who work long or overnight shifts.
Okay, that's probably what she was talking about.
These rooms are often simple, equipped with a bed, a small desk, and sometimes a private or shared bathroom.
All right. I guess you learn something new every day. Okay, so following that video, I see this video, right?
I wasn't expecting my last video to blow up like it did. If your husband or wife work in the emergency room overnight, chances of them cheating on you is very high. Let me do a quick story. One of the 3 nurses that's following me, and I'm almost sure it was Kate. Let me hold that thought until after my meeting at 3 o'clock. Let me do a quick little story time. One of them decided to send my video to HR, and my manager called me this morning demanding me to remove my video.
Damn.
I told her absolutely not. I did not disclose any names or locations, so why would I do that? Now I got a meeting at 3 o'clock. I'm here to tell them if they fire me or suspend me, I will be dropping first and last names.
Right.
Because ain't no way I got a meeting because I'm spreading awareness to the faithful husbands and wives out here that's not cheating. I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say on my page. They cannot take that away. This is something I experienced working there.
Right.
So what? Why can't I talk about it?
What do you guys think of this? So, as expected, I've seen this play out over and over again. You see somebody who come back from work and they'll share about experiences happening in their workplace. And within a couple of days, I'll see a follow-up video that says, oh, look, they fired me. I'm not saying she's wrong for necessarily doing this. I do, however, know that certain companies do have policies that try to make sure that they're able to moderate social media presence, especially if you have their uniform on for their company because they don't want you to misrepresent them, so on and so forth. So, of course, man, like check out these likes here, 66K plus likes, 300 plus comments, very high engagement. People had a lot to say about these. So check these out. These are coming from other people who stumbled on this video. This is the first video that we watched. This lady gives her own personal experience. She says, I work night in labor and delivery. Never heard of such behavior. This is disgusting to label all healthcare professionals like this. So I wasn't expecting that. Usually the top comment will be a top comment that somebody's kind of backing the person up. And this is where I stand. You know, you can probably find research that shows this, and I've talked about this before, that certain fields have more infidelity. But to just say like most doctors and nurses are cheating, I don't know, right? You'd have to have real data to make that concrete. Now it's okay for you to share your experience online about where you work. That's like when people get upset when I say women initiate 70 to 80% of divorces. The only problem is that that's actually statistically true. Like that's an actual studied fact. You can only argue about why you think they do that and why you think more women should divorce their husbands and break up families, but you can't say that that's not true. Somebody else who says hospitals just like a warehouse. That's funny. Here's somebody else who says those nurses sleep with security as well. Here's somebody else who says, did you guys not watch Grey's Anatomy? Here's somebody else who says high STD rates also. Another person here says that's everywhere, lady. Police stations, fire departments, hospitals, factories, restaurants, construction sites, flight attendants, jail houses. It is more expected that somebody who cheats will typically cheat with a coworker. That's true. That's another stat, but that makes sense, right? Proximity. That's the person they spend the most time with. Here's somebody else who says, and cops that come in. I also know that that's true with law enforcement as far as like divorces and infidelity goes. Not most of them, but you know, you definitely have jobs where the chances of something happening are higher. Anyways, we're not done here. Then came a second video. Check this out. This one's captioned, "They let me go." All right.
Sorry for the late response, everyone. I needed time to process everything, take it in, and most importantly, speak to my attorney. They did let me go. They let me go because they said I have a large following and they did not want someone from the outside to come in and notice me and obviously know that this is the hospital that I'm talking about. They also told me if I release any names that I would be sued. Obviously, they seen my video before my meeting. I have so many followers. I lost track of everyone that's following me. I noticed the nurses was following me about 4 months ago, but I did not pay much attention to that or really didn't care. I've been receiving a lot of threats in my inbox, calling me snitches, saying they're happy I lost my job and I should have minded my business. Well, they made it my business when they brought it to the workplace. If they didn't bring it to work, it would not be my business. As far as them letting me go, I really don't care. I'm not a nurse, so I did not lose my license or anything like that. They just simply let me go.
That makes sense. That makes sense. She sounds like she's nothing to lose.
I did speak to my attorney and I do have a case, so I'll be moving forward with that. It's just exhausting being at work all night, watching husbands and wives cheat. Don't nobody want to see that. Keep it at home if that's what you want to do, or simply leave your union and go out and cheat all day.
Right.
It's as simple as that, but I'm not tripping on nothing. It is what it is. I was just telling y'all what goes on behind closed doors. I mean, take it or leave it.
Hey, she doesn't care. It's whatever. Listen, people do this all the time. They'll crash out over something they want to share. It sounds like it tugged at her, hit her personal spot. It is what it is. She doesn't care. You know, I told you guys I was a CNA caregiver for 10 years, you know, and doing that type of job, you work around a lot of nurses and also nursing assistants. My first job I had, I worked in it was like a surgical acute transitional extension of a hospital. And I've seen some stuff, but I would never, ever risk my job especially if I knew that at the end of the day, those people are going to do them at those hospitals or wherever it is I was working at the time. There was no point. Now, if maybe she wants a career in content creation, then she can pursue that. There is a second video here that I want to check out. Let's see, because people are upset about her getting fired. Let's read a few of these comments. Top comment says, glad you went and hired an attorney. Wrongful termination should be dealt with. So she might be able to actually get away with suing them if they actually don't have policy for this. At least that's what I believe. I'm not a professional here, guys, but I know there's certain people who I know who literally tell me, hey, I can't get on social media because I have to first approve it with the company that I work for. And not every company's okay with you getting on social media. Somebody else who says, it wasn't your business though. You were just thirsty for messy content. What do you guys think? Somebody responded back. Oh, she responded back. She says, wasn't nothing messy about near video I posted. My video I posted, I'm assuming that's supposed to say, what's messy is sleeping around at work. It's not illegal to tell the spouses privately. I guess people are like, hey, you should go talk to people privately. The nurses that reported it must be guilty. Somebody else who says, honestly, it wasn't your business. Here's somebody else who says, girl, F them folks. So everybody who's been cheated on is basically on her side, it looks like. And, it's not a good thing to be there. I'm not laughing at people for this. But people crash out, man. People online will let their jobs go up in flames based on the type of content that they make. Let's see. We have one more here. Let's see what people have to say.
The only people mad at me is cheating husbands and wives, the ones that backdoor their spouse every chance they get. Once you start doing inappropriate things at work, it's no longer your business. It's everyone's business. I can't believe there's a group of cheaters in my inbox and in my comments threatening me. And y'all keep saying I should have minded my business. Y'all always saying mind y'all business until it's y'all. And the thing that did it for me is when it was Caitlin's birthday, her husband got her edible arrangements, flowers, chocolate delivered to work, all while she's in a one-bedroom apartment doing Lord knows what with a doctor.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. And I'll be honest with you. I hope that husband finds out. That's insane. Did you guys hear that? She put a name out. She said when Caitlin, hold on.
Stop. And the thing that did it for me is when it was Caitlin's birthday, her husband got her edible arrangements, flowers, chocolate delivered to work, all while she's in a one-bedroom apartment doing Lord knows what with a doctor.
No, that's wild. So she witnessed a woman cheating with the doctor while the husband was sending her flowers and chocolate for her birthday. Listen, I'm just being honest with everybody. The medal for this, I guess, is I did the right thing. I told, cool. But, it sounds like she really didn't lose that much, a license. If you lost your nursing license off being messy like this, and then it affected your family and this and that, of course, that would be probably a bigger risk for her. She doesn't mind. She probably saw some really terrible things in there. That's hurtful. That's crazy.
Stop marrying people and wasting their time. Stop going to work, doing inappropriate things, and you won't have to worry about somebody like me that will air everything out. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you don't want to be married, get a divorce and live your life. Stop wasting people's time. Stop belittling your spouse when you think they won't find out. Stop being sneaky and keep it 100.
I can respect it. What I'm thinking is her next job is going to play her this video. Be like, hey, you going to do this over here too? It's easy to be somebody on the outside in, not think like a business owner. And you've got to think. You hire a bunch of messy employees and now your company's I'm not defending the cheaters here. I'm trying to think of why they would fire her for this instead of just saying, hey, what's going on? You guys are causing drama. Hey, we understand this is something you're uncomfortable with. Can you just not get out here and talk about it? you know. Here's somebody else who says, don't tell your story until your case is over. I'm not, sis. I'm staying quiet after this. So she's showing him, hey, conclusion, I wish her the best. I think that's disgusting that there are a bunch of married nurses over there who are giving it up to doctors, you know? And we live in the day and age where now social media exists and people don't mind airing that out. TikTok, man, things move like wildfire when the story gets told. Moving on.
Do you hear about the husband who's currently ignoring his wife because she threw away videotapes of his late wife who passed away? So this man had a daughter with his late wife whose name was Eleanor. His daughter's 18th birthday is coming up in 2 weeks' time. Now, him and his late wife, let's call her Chloe, had been dating since they were in high school. Once they got older, they got married, and then she told him that she was pregnant with their first child. He was excited that they were expecting their first child. Since it was their first child, they agreed to buy a video camera and record little snippets here and there of her pregnancy. You know, clips of her joking around, just being excited to be a mom, talking to her unborn child, all of that stuff. He and Chloe made an agreement to only show these tapes to their daughter Eleanor on her 18th birthday. Fast forward 2 years later, after the birth, Chloe unfortunately passed away due to a drunk driver hitting her when she was driving home after visiting her mother. Now, he was devastated at the time, understandably, and he went into a very deep depression, all whilst having to raise their 2-year-old daughter at the time. Friends tried to get him out there to start dating again, but he just wasn't ready. Every time he tried, he felt like he was betraying Chloe. Fast forward years later, when Eleanor was now 13, he met a woman called Wendy. They met at a gathering for his sister's birthday and they immediately hit it off. Now, Wendy didn't mind that he had a daughter already because she had 2 kids herself and she had just gone through a divorce. Now, 2 years after him and Wendy got married, Eleanor's 18th birthday was soon approaching, and he had kept all the tapes that he and his late wife had recorded for Eleanor. Remember that his late wife passed when Eleanor was 2 years old, so she doesn't have much to remember her mum by. Now, he was excited to show Eleanor these tapes, and he also spoke about it with Wendy, his wife. However, he noticed whenever he would speak about his late wife, Chloe, Wendy would start looking a little bit uncomfortable, and her whole facial expression would change.
Oh, no. No.
Now, he made it clear that he only speaks about his late wife in a way to give his daughter a mental picture of what she was like. However, Wendy would express how she was feeling that it made her upset when he would talk about his ex-wife, Chloe. She felt like she was always comparing herself to Chloe, saying that she could never be like her. Chloe was a model working on her fashion career, while Wendy had 2 kids in college and wasn't in the best shape, her words used. He reminded Wendy that he does love her just the way that she is, and
So
she doesn't
jealous.
need to compare herself to Chloe. Anyway, the next day they made up after having this conversation. And Wendy followed up by asking where he kept the tapes. He showed Wendy where these tapes were in his closet. Things were all going fine until yesterday. He was looking for these tapes. He wanted to put them in a prettier box before he gave them to his daughter. However, when he was looking for it, he couldn't find it. So he went downstairs and asked Wendy if she knew where the box was. Wendy replied and said, "Oh, I threw it away," with a very neutral expression.
You threw away the box of the tapes. Oh, man.
His heart dropped. He said, "What do you mean you've thrown it away?" Wendy replied and said that he speaks about Chloe too much and it's time for him to move on. So she took it upon herself to throw it away as a head start for him. He was fuming because not only had she thrown away the only memories that he had of Chloe, she threw away his daughter's big surprise. They quickly got into an argument, but as soon as Wendy realized how angry he was, she kept apologizing. He got so upset and filled with emotions that he eventually started crying, and he went up to his bedroom and locked himself in there. Now, the following morning, he logs into his computer to see if he can find any old files or videotapes of his late wife that he can share with his daughter. He's been ignoring his wife non-stop, but she's been texting him non-stop trying to apologize and saying how sorry she is. It's now getting to the point where their mutual friends are texting him to accept her apology and to get over it because his late wife died over 10 years ago. But he says he's ignoring them all because they've never had someone so close to them die unexpectedly. He's still working on finding some extra files that he might have, but he's starting to wonder if he's overreacting. He doesn't know what to do. What do you guys think?
Overreacting. Let's see what the people have to say real quick. All right, so top comment here says, he is not reacting enough. Another person here says, he's not doing enough. Bring her to the market. We stone her. Damn. Here's somebody else that says, I like this in response to that comment. Yeah, that's a horrible situation. That sounds like the type of situation that would definitely lead somebody to questioning whether or not you have a soul and why they actually decided to marry. Here's somebody else who says, honestly, that's a divorceable offense. Another person here added, can't lie. I'm on the man's side. See, it's tough for them. It's tough for them. I know. Somebody else here says she feels threatened by a woman who isn't alive. Another person who says, I'm divorcing her. Yeah. I mean, just think about that for a second, right? There are situations where somebody has had children with the woman, a man in particular, and he probably would still be with that woman if she didn't pass away. Finds a new woman while things may be going great. He probably thinks about the woman he first married, especially if she was actually a good wife. That's an interesting conversation right there. And I bet you for a lot of people, they don't know how to handle that. Is it wrong to talk about your ex-wife, especially if she was a wonderful woman? And is that new wife supposed to just understand that there's really nothing to worry about because that person is no longer with us, right? Is no longer alive? I think reacting in the way that she did is definitely borderline kind of evil. You know, here's another person who added, why is the new wife competing with a ghost? Another person says, as a widow, doing something similar for my sons when they're 18, straight divorce. Don't ever speak to me again. The disrespect, it's memories for the child, not him obsessing over her. Wow. Right there, we have somebody who's actually doing the same thing. And, you know, it kind of makes sense that you don't want to confuse and overwhelm that young child with emotion, because they probably wonder, like, okay, I wonder what my biological mom looked like, so on and so forth. And that great grand reveal is probably a gift of like, hey, you're mature enough to look through these things, to watch these videos and see more about your parent. Damn, this is sad. Very sad. Yep, definitely divorce worthy if you ask me. Guys, be honest. Like complete honesty. That's some evil shit. The more I think about it, I'm like, that's kind of evil, very insensitive. Somebody else who says, you know, it's bad when I'm taking a man's side. Wow. Here's somebody else who responded back to that first woman who said that she's doing the same thing. This guy says, even if he was obsessed, I wouldn't see the problem. When someone you love dies like that, you never stop to love them, and it never stops to hurt. She responded back and says, I agree. I always love my late husband, and if a man can't accept that, he needs to step aside. This is respectable. You know, this is different. This is different from the chicks who leave good men and they're bragging about it and laughing. This is respectable. This is like, you had a good thing. You had a good husband, and that's unfortunate. Yeah. Somebody else who says she was wrong, I'm on his side. Another person who says a divorce, keep your apology. As always, guys, I'm curious to know what you think. Comment down below. Moving on.
5 biggest challenges black people have for the next 100 years. The number one challenge is the existential crisis of the black family. The existential crisis of the black family. Marriage in our culture is down to 34%. When we were growing up, it was 85%, is now down to 34%. 71% of our sisters are not married, 29% will never get married, 63% of our brothers are not married, 30% of them will never get married. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has risen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of their culture.
So the title of this video says, the sobering truth, the number one challenge in the black community is the existential crisis of black family. Let's continue to listen.
Only exists. This is an interesting but negative statistic. This phenomenon of the existential crisis of our family only exists among African American black people. It does not exist on the continent or anywhere else in the diaspora. So there must be something in the water. We must fix this. It is a lot easier said than done because it is impacting our wealth. Quick statistics. For 350 years, household median income was dominated by white people. They were number one in this country. They no longer are number one, they're number three, and there's a reason for it. So, who has the highest household median wealth in America? It's East Indians. $104,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94% two are working. Who's number two?
Also interesting.
Chinese Asians. Household median income $110,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. Number three are white people.
Wow.
Household median income $88,000 a year. What's the marriage rate? Almost 50%.
Wow, that's interesting. By the way, this is Dr. George C. Fraser. And quick question for you. Did you guys expect that? Those stats when it came to the median family income portion? I think about these things once in a while, especially as someone who does love this country and the opportunity I've been awarded, especially as a man who's married, has a family, and don't plan on leaving this country, plan to have more children here. I think about this often. Let's keep listening.
Down significantly. Number four are Hispanics. Household median income $61,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. We are at the bottom. Household median income $55,000 a year. Marriage rate 34%. And projected based on facts and statistics that if we do not fix this, because white folks ain't fixing this, our marriage rate will be in the low teens in the next 20 years.
Wow.
This is an enormous challenge. That's a whole talk by itself on how do we fix it. It can be fixed, but we have to, first of all, understand that this is a problem. No one's talking about this problem. This is a huge problem. It's the number one problem in our culture. So we must fix it.
Oh. Listen, in this video, I'm more curious to know what you guys think about what was shared in the stats that have been shared in this video. Let's check out a few reactions. So I first saw this video because I see it resurfacing. The video was on TikTok, and then I saw it again on IG, Instagram right here. And there are two types of people I've seen really are interested in this specific topic. What topic am I talking about? Approaching solving the issue of broken homes from a macro level rather than a micro level, which my approach, I'll tell you what my approach is pretty much save yourself, right? And I don't know what the future holds when it comes to marriage in any culture, regardless of any ethnicity or race here in Western society. We see marriage rates are declining. And while I believe this fight is honorable, I take a more personal approach to helping men who do value marriage in our modern day protect themselves as much as possible, which is why, of course, I created fathershaverights.com and have legal information all available for men free with offer code review, right? We have the prenuptial guide and some other stuff on there, all available so that a man who wants to get married can position himself the best way possible so he can limit his losses in case, as we know, things don't work out. But I've really noticed two camps really value this approach, right? You have people who lean conservative when it comes to politics. So I saw this video here, and as somebody who has more conservative values when it comes to social issues and family structure, I can agree with this aspect to this discussion. You have people here like this gentleman who says, I shared it because it's the stark truth. Somebody else here says, great words of wisdom. And here's another person who says, how did this come about? Somebody else here added, I appreciate his courage to speak about the truth. This is real talk. Don't worry about the cool club. It is overrated. You have somebody else who says Democrats never help like they promised for years. Somebody else here added, get away from Democrats and this problem is fixed. And so, you know, you have people here chiming in on this video. And then you have people who take a more spiritual perspective to this, you know, like this person who shared the video with the caption, here's one of the reasons why I have made marriage ministry my priority. If we do marry right, everything will be in order. Top comment here says the only way to fix this is to turn our face back to God, reconciliation. And so this is usually the perspective that a lot of people who identify as Christians like myself, who believe in Jesus, who believe in God, who believe in the Bible, will have this perspective of, well, this is happening because people aren't embracing Christian principles. And I do agree with that. But I do think there is a perspective to this that's a little bit short-sighted. What do I mean? A lot of people like to believe that God doesn't bless marriages unless if a marriage is exercised in a Christian fashion. And the problem with that theory is all the people who are performing better when it comes to family structure don't come from societies where Christianity is really number one, right? What do I mean? I'll make it more clear. I believe, regardless of what you may believe in when it comes to your faith, if you practice the principles that I believe were set up by God to love your partner, be patient, understand that this is not a fairy tale, and you commit to each other, then he'll bless you. The same way that people who do not necessarily identify as Christian do experience good health. They can still lose weight. They can still be healthy if they follow the laws of biology, nature, and take good care of themselves, right? The scriptures say God causes the rain to fall on the just and unjust. What does that mean? That means God is better than you. He is good and more good than you. Thank God you're not God and I'm not God, because I would be stingy with who rain falls on, right? And I think a lot of people think like, oh, just as long as you're Christian, it's going to work out. Not necessarily, because if you look at the church itself, the divorce rates are wow. This next commenter says, so a single black woman making $132K is a problem. Most men I come across are looking for someone to take care of them. Marriage is great, she says, if you are not being exploited. So I guess she's the one who earns over 100K here. And she, of course, is missing the whole point, right? And this is why I say this idea that you're going to go and get all these people on the same page, I wish you the best. Save yourself, right? Decide if marriage is something that you value and prepare yourself if that's the direction you want to go in life. This person says, you ignore him and keep doing what you're doing. He's speaking about something bigger than you and as individuals. Yeah. Somebody else here added, R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. Of course, guys, I'm curious to know what you think. Moving on.
I just came back from the worst date ever. I went on a date with a very rich man. He owns a lot of property, a lot of buildings, a lot of everything. So I went on a date with him. He was horrible. He basically told me how would I feel about getting my body done. He would pay for it. And if we didn't work out, I would have to pay him back. So I was already self-conscious to eat after that. Then he told me that men age better than women, so I'm pretty now, but I won't be forever. He told me that I was damaged because I have 2 kids, and even though he has 2 kids, it's okay because he's a man. I have 2 kids, and I should just be grateful because my pickings are slim. And even if that was factual, I just don't think it was tasteful. Then he told me that he can look at me and tell that I have over 20 bodies, so he's not going to even ask me about my body count.
Damn.
So he's not going to ask me about my past or anything because he just knows. And he's okay with that. He's willing to lower his standard a little bit. The date from hell. And oh my God, were there any red flags when I was talking to him initially? No, he was really charismatic, very outgoing, very sure, which I think kind of snowballed into this forwardness, because what happens is when people are really charismatic and outgoing and they know what they want, they're very aggressive, and I guess they do the love bombing thing where you're so pretty, you're so smart, oh my God, I've been looking for a woman like you, I can't wait for us to get to know each other better, oh my God, and then they kind of do this little bait and switch where the niceness turns into rudeness, and I think that's what happened, and it was horrible.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for chicks like this. I don't. I mean, this is what you're doing. You're going out into society, and this is the thing today, right? They'll go out with the mindset of, if he can't pay close to all the bills or all the bills and take care of me and put me in my soft girl era, then I don't want to give him the time of day. So then what happens? If you're only concerned about what that person brings financially to the relationship, and you're not looking at things outside of that, like character and how he's going to treat you and this and that, then why are you surprised that you're running into men who are treating you badly? And listen, I'm not saying the guy's a bad dude at all, right? I don't know him, but We got to remember that they bring this on themselves. You go out here only prioritizing money, nothing else. That's the only thing that matters. How much is he bringing? If he's not paying the bills, and I don't want to hear it. And then you run into this. How are you surprised? Can someone please explain to me why this would be surprising? Chicks like her and many others, like they really are playing with fire when it comes to this. It reminds me of that one video. If you guys remember the one chick who married the rich guy and then found out some horrible things he was doing to her children. And I'm not here saying this is what's going to happen to most women who are out here listening to Shira Seven's advice. That's not what I'm saying. I am, however, saying you cannot minimize the importance of character. Character is important, not only to the man, but also you, right? It's important that you find someone with good character. And going around trying to prioritize the bag, prioritize anything else but, and not even preparing yourself for a healthy relationship and dating for money strictly is going to land you in horrible situations. Will make for great content for a lot of people because they love getting online and sharing their situation. But at the end of the day, like you're in for a really bad time. Let's see.
It's a beautiful day to be a Black woman.
Let's see what else we have. People pleaser on. You can tell when your blessing is close. Don't pass the. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It will end in tears. It will. Top comment here says he was probably on the DL. Come on, man. They love running to that. Somebody else who says, girl, after that first comment, I would grab my things and walked out. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. See, 40 and living. You got a 40-plus-year-old woman talking about after that first comment, I would grab my things and walked out. These chicks pray to meet a dude who earns a lot of money. Do you think that chicks who let a guy who they're embarrassed to know is their baby daddy are walking away from a man who owns multiple properties and this, and that? Come on, bro. You know how it goes. Somebody else who says everything on the table would have been in top of his head. Come on, grandma. Come on, grandma. Come on, grandma. We know that's not. We know you're not. Come on. Come on. I think this is an AI photo. It has to be. Here's another commenter that says, has nothing to do with wealth. Somebody else who says, Kevin Samuels reincarnated, shaking my head. Somebody else who says, you dated a man who pretended to be wealthy so he could take you out and berate you. Yo, what if that's the case? What if that's the case? What if that's what really happened? Yo, that is wild. Somebody else here says, right? I think this could be the answer too. Yo, this chick says, don't date wealthy men. You date generous men. There we go. Still going to get got. Another person here says, and why did you stay for the whole date? Because she was hungry, because she needs food, because she's broke, because she needs a man to take care of her. This is the truth. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. Listen, of course, guys, I'm curious to know what you think. Leave your comments and your thoughts down below. I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pot. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.